Good morning, YouTube. Well, these cameras have been a great source of controversy, and all the cities across the state just recently received some very bad news of this, so they only got one last gasp to try and keep these cameras. The Ohio Second Court of Appeals ruled against these red light traffic camera scam. These red light traffic cameras, which have been nothing but a scam from day one. And and here in Dayton, I'm at the corner of Salem and North by the post office. Here at Salem and North on the border of Dayton View and Five Oaks. So these cameras have been ruled against, and of course now the mayor is making up, the mayor Nan Whaley, who's a piece of shit. And she's making up all kinds of lies, trying to drum up support and win sympathy. And the residents are just not having any of it. When it comes to this. So she's trying to make up all kinds of lies and saying, since we can't, saying all violations are up in all these cameras and all this other stupid crap. Just a bunch of political stupidity. And the mayor, as I said, she's a complete joke and piece of trash. But the camera borders both sides of the street. Right there's the one on the other side too. So it's just been a bunch of stupidity that's existed around these cameras, for a long time. And Toledo and Akron have their cases pending too. And I think, because the case was ruled against it by Dayton, that ruling I'm sure will extend to Akron and Toledo. So basically the next stop and the last stop for the cities to maintain these cameras is the Ohio Supreme Court. So ultimately that's going to end up getting the case. So it's time, that we start voting against these corrupt politicians and corrupt mayors in cities like Dayton, Toledo, and Akron, and say no more. If you want to try and insist on keeping these cameras and disobeying the law, and these stupid mayors are dumb enough to actually think that home rule of the city supersedes state law, which is nothing but a bunch of bull crap and lies. It's very early in the morning on Saturday morning. It's around 6:40. I waited to make this video till there was just enough daylight. I only have time to make this video this morning because I've been pretty busy this week, and I made another trip up to Piqua yesterday on Friday. It's Saturday morning, as I said, around 6:40. So this was really the only time I had to make this video. So as the sun is rising, so hopefully the sun will not be rising for these cameras once the case ends up going in front of the Ohio Supreme Court, because ultimately that's where it's going to happen, because these mayors in these cities, are so desperate to try anything to hang on to these little traffic camera scamming. And there's been a lot of controversy, with the camera maker, Red Flex, that they were doing, political favors, or the mayors in these cities have been doing political favors, for Red Flex and all this other crap, and it's been going back and forth. So there's been a lot of corruption, in both directions as far as this goes. Hopefully these will be gotten rid of all over the country, because it's nothing but a scam, what's been behind this. And they say, it's all about safety, which we all know that's a bunch of lies and propaganda. It's never been about safety with these traffic cameras. It's been about stealing from the taxpayers. And most people in the city, they are against cameras, but they should have never been allowed to win it anywhere across the country, because these politicians, they have a habit of just, you know, sneaking these programs in, like these traffic cameras, through the back door on the taxpayers. Like, oh, they'll be like, you know, oh, they'll improve safety. And basically what ends up happening is, once these programs get in through the door, once these programs end up getting in through the back door, it ultimately takes action by the courts to ultimately get rid of these. So it becomes a huge burden on the taxpayers, you know, to ultimately get rid of these as well, because then we have to fight to get rid of these. So basically it just becomes one big mess. And of course, you know, these politicians, they prey on the minds of the weak. RTA bus just going past. They prey on the minds of the weak by sneaking in cameras. They prey on the weak by sneaking in programs like this, you know, to ultimately steal and rob the taxpayer of more money. And then it just ultimately becomes one big mess, you know, just trying to get rid of it. And so, and ultimately, as long as the Ohio Supreme Court rules against this, which hopefully they will, because that's ultimately going to be the last stop for these. It's basically over with for these cameras. I mean, once the Ohio Supreme Court rules against it, because I doubt that the U.S. Supreme Court's going to hear a case on this, because it's really time that you know, this ends once and for all. And just, it's time that the mayors of Dayton, Toledo, and Akron quit making up desperate facts and BS and just accept the fact that it's over. Quit making up lies, Nan Whaley, and whoever the mayor is in Toledo and Akron. All that violations are up. Quit trying to win sympathy. It's over with. And it's time that we vote against these politicians who want to insist on keeping these cameras in here. And, you know, it's time we get rid of them. But anyway, YouTube, that's going to be it for this one from the soon-to-be, you know, soon-to-be ex-red light traffic camera scam in Dayton, and hopefully the rest of the state, once they end up clearing this once the last gasp fails the Ohio Supreme Court, that it's over with. And it'd be nice if we got to rip them down and take sledgehammer to them. But that's it for this one.